Hi, and welcome back to A Smarter Way to Retire. I'm your host, Tony Leonardi, and I'm excited to dive into step 3 of my book, A Smarter Way to Retire, 10 Steps Towards a Confident Financial Future. Today, we're focusing on a crucial aspect of retirement planning, understanding your expectations and addressing your concerns. These are the questions, the hopes, the fears that drive the decisions we make as we prepare for and live through retirement. Step 3 is all about aligning your vision with reality while finding ways to address uncertainties. In step 1, we gathered all of our documentation, all of our statements, our information. In step 2, we chose a digital platform to start building our model, whether it's a spreadsheet, an app, or some software. You found one that you're comfortable with and started building your model. In step 3, we are understanding your expectations and concerns. So let's start with expectations. Everyone has a unique vision of what retirement looks like. For some, it's traveling the world. For others, it's staying close to home, spending time with family, or pursuing hobbies. But these expectations can't exist in a vacuum. They must be grounded in your financial reality. Do you plan to stop working altogether at a certain age, which would be the traditional definition of retirement? For example, I want to retire completely, stop working at age 65. Perhaps that's your goal. The more modern definition of retirement would be what we call, rather than retirement, financial independence. So financial independence is the point at which you can choose to work or not. You don't have to work. You can afford to stop working, but you choose to work because you still love it, because you want a good reason to get out of the house on a regular basis, because you still get a sense of accomplishment out of working, or you just like the idea of having some level of paycheck coming in on a regular basis. Whatever your rationale, financial independence is when you reach that point that you don't have to work if you don't want to. And that's a very nice feeling to have. What type of lifestyle are you expecting to have in retirement? Do you plan to have an active lifestyle? If so, have you planned for the cost and expense of the hobbies and activities that you enjoy? For example, if you enjoy winter activities like I do and you'd like to pursue more skiing with your newfound free time, what level of budget would you need for skiing, let's say, several times per year, or taking a few ski trips per year? In the summer, do you golf? Do you sail? Have you budgeted for your golf membership and maybe a few golf trips? If you plan to be active, have you considered the health and wellness costs associated with these activities? Will you keep a gym membership? How about physical therapy or maybe a chiropractor? Important things to think about. Do you enjoy traveling? Have you thought about the places you want to visit? Those places that have been on your bucket list for several years. Maybe now is the time to start ticking those off your bucket list, especially early in retirement, while you're still healthy, vibrant, and have the energy to travel. How often would you like to travel? Where would you like to go? Let's say you've always had the dream of spending summers in Europe. Have you factored in the costs, the flights, the accommodations, the living expenses? They all add up. And then there are the ongoing costs of possibly maintaining your home while you're away back in the States. Let's add these items into your plan. Then we can model to see if all or some of these dreams can become reality. This exercise isn't meant to discourage you, but rather to encourage clarity. When we align your dreams with your financial plan, we can create a roadmap to help you get there. This process also helps to set realistic timelines. Maybe that Europe trip happens every 2 years instead of every year, and that's okay. The key is to know what's possible and make it work within your financial model. Let me say here that as you think about your expectations and concerns, each partner in a relationship may have different experiences, different goals, or different ideas about what the ideal retirement might look like. One partner may prioritize travel and exploring the world, while the other partner may envision spending more time at home with family and friends. One partner may like the idea of continuing to work, full-time or part-time, while the other would like a more traditional retirement. We encourage both partners to go through this process of identifying expectations and concerns individually at first, then come together and compare your responses. Often this is the first time in a relationship that you've had the opportunity to discuss your ideal retirement with your partner or your spouse. We feel that it's important as a couple to have a unified vision of retirement. Working through differences early can reduce potential conflict later. So we've discussed retirement expectations. Now let's shift to retirement concerns. Most of the time, people are worried about the same types of big things. Will we outlive our money? What if there's a market downturn? What if my health changes or a loved one needs expensive care? These are valid concerns, and ignoring them won't make them go away. The typical concerns that people have as they prepare for retirement are no longer having a paycheck, running out of money, suffering investment losses, the cost of health care or long-term care. And one of the partners dying early, how does that affect the surviving spouse? Is the surviving spouse prepared to take over the responsibility of handling the finances? The beauty of going through a financial planning process such as this together is that both partners will have a better understanding of their overall financial picture, and a surviving spouse will be in a better position to take over if needed. Again, both partners should identify their concerns individually, then compare notes. It's important to understand how each other feels, so that solutions can be found. This is where having a financial model becomes so important. A solid plan doesn't eliminate uncertainty, but it helps you to prepare for it. For instance, we can stress test your financial model to see how your portfolio will hold up during a prolonged market downturn or periods of high inflation. This exercise is incredibly empowering because it turns an abstract fear into something tangible and solvable. Another concern I often hear is about healthcare costs. These can be unpredictable, but they're a fact of life. Building for contingencies for healthcare or long-term care expenses into your financial model can help you alleviate this worry. I always tell my clients the more prepared you are, the less uncertainty has the power to derail you. Bridging expectations and concerns is important. The magic of retirement planning happens where expectations and concerns meet. For example, you might expect to maintain your current lifestyle, but concerns about rising costs or market volatility might make you hesitant to spend or cause you to skip that dream vacation. A strong plan bridges that gap. One of the most powerful tools we use is scenario planning. For instance, we might look at what happens if you decide to retire a couple of years earlier than plans. Or we might model out the impact of supporting an adult child financially for a few years, for example. These scenarios help you make informed decisions, ones that balance your hopes and fears without compromising your long-term goals. Ultimately, this step of the process is about creating a sense of confidence. When you can see how your plan adapts to different situations, you gain a sense of control over your financial future, no matter what curveballs life throws your way. So before we wrap up, here are 2 simple takeaways for you. Write down your top 3 expectations for retirement, and each partner do this individually. Be as specific as possible. Whether it's a dream vacation, a new hobby, downsizing your current home, or maybe buying a vacation home, putting it on paper makes it real. Write down your top 3 concerns. These could be related to finances, health, family, or a combination. Once they're on paper, you can begin to address them. Your expectations and concerns form the foundation of your retirement plan. When we tackle these early on, we give ourselves the opportunity to build something that works for both of you, both emotionally and financially. In fact, the expectations and concerns step in the financial planning process is less about numbers and more about the emotions tied to retirement. Retirement represents a major life transition, and it's natural to have a mix of hopes and fears. This step is designed to uncover those emotions, what excites you about retirement, and what keeps you up at night. By exploring these emotional elements, we can better align your financial plan with what truly matters to you. It's not just about funding your retirement, it's about addressing the deeper personal goals and worries that shape your vision for this next chapter. This process helps ensure that your retirement plan isn't just practical, but is also meaningful and emotionally fulfilling. So that's it for today's episode of A Smarter Way to Retire. Thank you for joining me as we explored Step 3, Expectations and Concerns. Next week, we'll dive into Step 4, where we'll discuss defining your retirement time frame. If you're enjoying this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. It really helps. And if you're ready to take the next step, please visit my website, www.leonardi.familywealthcare, for more resources, including my book, A Smarter Way to Retire, 10 Steps Towards a Confident Financial Future. Until next time, I'm Tony Leonardi, reminding you to plan smarter so you can retire with confidence.
Securities offered through Mosaic Wealth, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Mosaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Mosaic Wealth. The opinions expressed herein are for general information only and is not necessarily the opinions of Mosaic Wealth or its representatives. Investing is subject to risk, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. It is not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. Please consult your financial professional, attorney, or tax advisor with regards to your individual situation.